shit, yeah, they bread stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an...
What's going on, fight fans? Welcome back to Matty Fight Talk. It's another great day when you love MMA. Let's jump right into it. We got UFC 287 going down April 8th. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. It is fight week, baby. We're looking at Alex Periera taking on Israel Adesayna for the second time in MMA. This will actually be the fourth time these guys are meeting up. They've had 2 kickboxing matches and 1 MMA fight, and guess what? Alex Periera has won all 3 of those. It's been rough for Izzy. I mean, Izzy's a great champion. He was a very, very dominant fighter for a very long period of time, but I think we may have found his kryptonite in Alex Periera. It seems like this guy just has Izzy's number. They're similar height, similar reach, but Alex looks so big on fight night. I mean, all records aside, all knockouts aside, all defense, all that, all of the statistics out of the way, Alex is just so big, strong, and hits so hard that he has that X factor when it comes to these kind of fights, especially against a guy like Israel Adesayna. Izzy is so hard for a lot of his previous opponents to even touch him, to be able to close the gap on him. They eat a lot of jabs, a lot of leg kicks. Alex Periera, on the other hand, walks right through that and keeps Izzy on his back foot the entire fight. We saw that in their last matchup where Periera won the belt and dethroned Izzy Adesayna. Now the question is Izzy going to make the adjustments he needs to win this fight? In my opinion, taking this fight so quick after losing doesn't really give you the right amount of time you need to make changes in your camp, to maybe watch the film and find some weaknesses in this guy's game plan. Because if we were talking about a stand-up kickboxing match, Izzy, he's not going to win that battle with the power that Periera possesses. Now, if you go back and watch that first fight, Izzy did a great job utilizing his jab, using the leg kicks, keeping Periera guessing on what the punches were going to be. He even rocked Periera really hard at the end of, I believe, the second round. It was either the end of the first or the second round. He hurt Periera really bad, but he recovered. Izzy doesn't carry the same kind of power that Periera does. Izzy's extremely accurate, very, very dynamic, and very good defensively, but Periera has the bombs in his hands. He has knockout power that is just unmatched in that division. Now, Izzy had some problems with the leg kicks. If you guys remember, he fell down in one of the rounds, stumbled over after he kicked Periera's leg because he was checking all of them or most of them. And that's not good, man. It doesn't make me think that Izzy has changed anything that's really going to be different in this fight. I believe he's going to use the same leg kicks. He's going to use the same striking, switching stance, trying to keep him off of what's coming next. But I believe Periera actually gained a lot of confidence in that first fight. I mean, it took him until the 5th round to pull the trigger, and it was a TKO. He didn't knock Izzy clean out. But I believe if they let that continue any further after watching it back a few times, I think Izzy would have got knocked unconscious. I mean, and if you're the champ, you do want to go out on your shield. But regardless, all of that aside, my prediction for this fight, I'm taking Alex Periera in this fight because he just has the power that you need to possess for all 5 rounds. He's training out of Teixeira Fitness with Glover Teixeira, so you know he's learning some solid jiu-jitsu, grappling, clinch fighting style things that from an MMA champion, from the heavyweight champion, from a guy who's been in the sport for a long time. They have a really good camp over there. I don't think Izzy's going to make the proper adjustments before this fight. I think it's too soon. I think he's hungry, determined. He wants to get this one back. He met a guy who just has his number, and he wants to get the W on him. Now, I think Izzy did a great job in that first fight, but I think this next fight on April 8th, Alex Periera is going to be pulling the trigger early and often, and I think he's going to be walking Izzy down and letting loose. I think he's going to start going for big punches early, throwing some solid kicks himself. He's going to continue to check the leg kicks, and I think he's going to have an even stronger performance this time and a more dominating performance. So I got Alex Periera winning this fight by a 3rd round knockout because I think Izzy's hard to trap. He's hard to catch early. Once the leg kicks get checked, once he stops moving as much and they start to settle down into the fight, I think Periera's going to start catching him and cracking him. And that guy's huge. He hits hard. He's a world champion kickboxer, and he's going to continue to be the world champion of middleweight in the UFC, in my opinion. Next up on the fight card, the co-main event is a solid one at welterweight. You got the number 5 Gilbert Burns taking on number 11 Jorge Masivdal. This is going to be a freaking great fight. Now, Masvidal's from Miami. This fight's in Miami. There's going to be a big home field advantage for this guy. Now, Gilbert Burns is from Brazil, but he trains out of Miami, or out of Florida. So it's the battle of the 2 guys from Florida here. The crowd's going to be loving this one. Masvidal's a huge fan favorite. Gilbert Burns has been on an absolute tear. Now, stylistically, for Masvidal, I don't think this is the best matchup. It's not the worst, but it's not the best matchup because of the jiu-jitsu skills of Gilbert Burns. Masvidal is coming off some losses. He's on a 3-fight losing streak and hasn't won a fight since 2019 where he defeated Nate Diaz. So with that being said, his last opponents were not easy opponents either. He fought Kamaru Usman twice, one on very short notice, one on, not the longest fight camp, but he did get a longer camp in for the second fight with Usman. Lost both of those fights, got knocked out brutally in one of them. And then he just lost a big fight to Colby Covington. And it seems like he doesn't do good against wrestlers. Now, Masvidal, I don't want to take anything away from this guy because I love this dude. I love his personality. I think he's a smart businessman, and he's a savage-ass fighter. He has great stand-up. His takedown defense is really solid. He does a great job defending takedowns. So Gilbert, I don't think he's going to be able to shoot in and just get a double leg. But if this fight lands on the ground, I think Gilbert Burns is going to have a huge advantage in the jiu-jitsu department, considering the fact that he just defeated Neil Magny with the second-round submission, and Neil Magny is an outstanding grappler himself. Now, standing up, Masvidal needs to bring it. He needs to push the pace early, and he needs to hurt Burns and earn his respect right away. If he does that, I think it'll be easier for Masvidal to stuff the takedowns. I think it'll be harder for Burns to stick to his game plan. We saw him struggle against Kamaru Usman when he couldn't get things going. He hurt Usman early, and then after that, he got picked apart with a jab. Now, Masvidal has even better striking. It's hard to say that because he got knocked out by Usman, but I think he still has better striking than Usman. Usman set him up good, but Masvidal's striking is on another level. Gilbert is really good in striking, and he's really good on the ground. He's more well-rounded, in my opinion, and I think Gilbert Burns, having the balls and the courage to take on Khamzat Chimaev when nobody else would, I think he grew in that fight. He realized what he was made of. He showed everybody that Khamzat's not invincible, because that guy really is one of the scariest guys in the UFC. That fight made him even better, and Gilbert Burns has been winning ever since. So I'm going to take Gilbert Burns winning this fight. I think it's going to be a third-round submission, because I think Masvidal is going to come to bang. I mean, he has a lot riding on this fight. Leon Edwards being the champ, there's a lot of history there between Masvidal and Leon Edwards. They're pushing for Masvidal, if he wins this fight, to potentially get a title shot or be next in line. So if I'm Gilbert Burns, I want to spoil that party. I'm going to be bringing it hard. I believe he's just going to tap Masvidal out, because Masvidal just does not fare well against grapplers. And I think the jiu-jitsu skills of Burns is going to play a huge role in this fight. So I got Gilbert Burns winning, third-round submission. Moving a little bit further down the fight card, we got number 6, Rob Font, taking on number 12, Adrien Yanez. This fight I'm super hyped for. I actually love both of these guys. Really good fight styles. Rob Font was on a very hot streak. They got cooled off, and he's been struggling ever since. He has 2 straight losses to Aldo and Chito Vera in fights that he just did not look like himself. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was moving into that spotlight. Maybe it was just the opponent being, a little bit quicker than him. Those are 2 tough guys to lose to, but he is on a 2-fight losing streak. But he does have some very notable wins in that division. Wins against like Sergio Pettis, Ricky Simon, Matt Schnell, really top high-level guys. I mean, Sergio Pettis is the world champion Bellator right now. Ricky Simon's moving himself high up the rankings. So being able to take those guys out early shows that he has the capability of being a really solid fighter. Now, Adrien Yanez, on the other hand, this kid's a freaking monster. He's on a 9-fight win streak since 2019. 7 of those 9 fights are wins by KO. He's got 10 KOs in his career, 2 submissions. Yanez is just putting the combos together. He looks flawless in his last couple performances. He's just doing a great job really elevating his fight game. Every fight, he looks better and better and better, and I'm really excited to see him in this fight. Now, I think this is one of those crossroad fights. Can Adrien Yanez make a name for himself off of a big name like Rob Font? Or is Rob Font going to bounce back from those 2 losses and show why he is in the top 10 and prove why he should keep his spot and continue to move back up the rankings? Rob Font needs to win this fight. Now, if I, being the betting man that I am, I'm going to go with number 12, Adrien Yanez. That kid's on a hot streak, and he's showing improvement every fight. I just didn't like the way Rob Font looked against Aldo, and especially how he looked against Vera. I know he possesses a lot of skills. We saw it in the Cody Garbrandt fight when he was picking him apart the entire fight. If that Rob Font comes to play, that'll be nice. But I just think Yanez hits hard. He's dynamic. He's always elevating his game. He's always learning and getting better. So I'm going to take Adrien Yanez winning this fight. Man, and both of these guys throw at a crazy rate. 6.38 significant strikes per minute for Rob Font and 6.62 for Adrien Yanez per minute. So man, it's just going to be impressive to see how this fight goes. I know they're going to come out guns blazing, so it's hard to pick what round. I'm going to say a second round knockout for Adrien Yanez. They're probably going to be a feeling out process, but once these guys start going, those lighter weight guys, they start cracking and they put the lights out. They put the show on. I got Adrien Yanez winning this fight and moving up the rankings, and it's just going to be an awesome war, I think. Moving a little bit further down the fight card, we got Kevin Holland taking on Santiago Ponzinibio. Man, you couldn't ask for a better striking matchup than these guys. I mean, Rob Font and Adrien Yanez is going to set it off, but you got Kevin Holland and Santiago Ponzinibio coming in right before that. Holland's 23-9 right now with 11 KOs and 8 submissions. Has been working heavily on his ground game. We've seen improvements. He's submitted a few guys recently. He's on a 2-fight losing streak despite all the improvements. Last fought in September where he lost to Wonderboy Thompson, broke his hand in the fight. Couldn't continue after the 4th round. I mean, he put on a show until then, so much respect to him. He's currently 2-2-1 in his last 5. So you know Holland's going to try and work his butt off to get back into the top, back into the rankings, and he's a fan favorite. I mean, if you don't like watching Holland fight, you really just don't like watching fighting. Now, Santiago Ponzinibio, on the other hand, another dangerous guy, man. The guy's a fan favorite, in my opinion. If you've been watching MMA for a while, you got to like Ponzinibio. He always brings it. It's always an entertaining fight. Ponzinibio's 30-6 right now. He's got 16 KOs and 6 submissions. Despite all the success, he is 2-3 in his last 5. Now, he last defeated Alex Periera with a 3rd round KO. Periera took that fight on short notice and was picking Ponzinibio apart until that happened. So, judging off of his last performance, if Ponzinibio, I mean, you know, he got his opponent switched out late, so that makes sense. You know, maybe he studied for the guy he was supposed to be fighting, didn't expect to go against the style he was going against. Whatever. All excuses aside, you're only as good as your last performance. Now, Kevin Holland, if he starts picking Ponzinibio apart early, it's going to be a long night for Ponzinibio, and I don't see him wanting to shoot in and grapple against a guy like Holland, who I believe probably has equal or better ground skills than Ponzinibio does. I'm going with Kevin Holland in this fight, and I got Kevin Holland winning by a 3rd round TKO because, like I said, Ponzinibio, if he comes to play, if he comes to bring it, he's not going to be an easy fight off the bat. It might be one of those Jeff Neal style fights where it's really back and forth. He can crack as well. Ponzinibio hurts guys, and he carries the power late, but I think Kevin Holland is a way better striker. I think his ground game is starting to match where his striking abilities are, and he's getting more well-rounded. He needs to win. He needs to bounce back, and I believe he does it in this fight against a big name like Santiago Ponzinibio. I got Kevin Holland winning this fight. 3rd round TKO. You can lock that in. Now, the main card opener in a huge live event with a live audience. Man, this kid, Raul Rosas Jr., 18 years old, will be taking on Christian Rodriguez, who's also pretty young, 25 years old. This is going to be a battle between 2 young studs, especially Rosas Jr., man. This kid's really living up to the hype. When I saw him win the Contender Series or when he got his contract, I was like, man, this kid's whatever, bro. They're just trying to hype it up and get the Contender Series some hype, you know, get the youngest fighter possible, blah, blah, blah. He really can fight, man. This kid's really a savage. He's currently undefeated, has 1 KO and 5 submissions, 5 first-round finishes in 7 of his professional fights. That is a freaking monster record for an 18-year-old kid. This kid is 18 years old and handling grown men. Now, Christian Rodriguez on the other side of this, 8-1, 3 KOs and 4 submissions. Very diverse in how he can end the fight as well. He also has 5 first-round finishes. So these are 2 bangers going at it. And Rosas, you know, he has a huge fan base. Everybody likes this kid. He's got a great personality. I don't really know too much about Christian Rodriguez, but looking up his highlights, the kid, he has some bombs in his hands, and he has some good ground skills as well. But Rosas Jr., man, he said it early. He said it often. I want to be the youngest champion ever, and he's trying hard to push that. I feel like he's got a lot of motivation behind that, or behind his fighting to get him to the next level. So significant strikes is a little bit interesting. Rosas Jr. throws 1.3 per minute, whereas Rodriguez throws 3.31 per minute. Striking department clearly is not Rosas' department, but he doesn't absorb almost any damage. You want to know why? Because he's going for 4.23 takedowns per 15 minutes, and most of his fights don't get out of the first round. He has 5 first-round finishes. So he's also going for 2.54 submissions per 15, when realistically the fight doesn't really leave the first round. So he's going in there, taking you down and trying to submit you immediately. Whereas Christian Rodriguez, you know, he has a pretty good takedown defense, but it just really depends. If he stuffs Rosas Jr., I think Christian Rodriguez definitely has the stand-up to put him out. Now, it's really going to come down to, can he stuff the takedowns? Because everybody thought they could beat this young man and take him out and end the hype train, but he's really showed that he has the skills to do it. He'll come right in, immediately get to his wrestling. He needs to be careful of Christian Rodriguez's striking, but I think Rosas Jr. is going to get it done again, man. I think this guy is relentless for being 18 years old. I think he's going to come right in, shoot in on Rodriguez like he always does to all his opponents and make it a grueling war right off the bat. Now, if Rodriguez can't stop that and he can't get up, I see this being a second-round submission for this kid. I think Rosas Jr. is going to win a second-round submission. I think the live cards is really when you get a lot of finishes, and I think most of these fights are going to be finishes, starting off with Rosas Jr. getting a second-round submission. Like always, guys, thanks for watching my video. Thanks for checking me out. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified when we drop more content. If you like my videos, man, go scroll through it. See what else I got going on. Don't forget to check out my TikTok, Mad Matty Fight Talk. It's in the description where I post fight videos daily. And I will see you guys on the next one, man. Thank you.
Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an